Biplanes are terrifying. I mean, I don't think they're much more terrifying than being in like a tiny two-seater Cessna. Like, obviously you're a little more open air, but when you're in a Cessna, you also kind of feel like you're basically open air. You've got the little tube flowing outside air in your face anyway, so you can like, you feel like you're outside, you know? So I don't know. You're not really in like a pressurized cockpit. You're just in a thing where you could open the door and pop out whenever. So I feel like it's kind of the same. Cessnas are worse. They randomly lose a bunch of altitude. Yeah, but also the cool thing about most Cessnas is if you point it straight down and you just start going, right? You just point this plane straight down and you just let go of the controls. Assuming you have enough altitude to do this, it will just level off. It will just, if you're not touching the controls, naturally just turn and level off. And suddenly you're just going forward and you're slowing down a bit. So like if your engine cuts, getting it to go, assuming you're not already careening and spinning, getting it to just tilt upwards is usually not a problem. It's slowing it down, having a nice landing that could still be a problem, but you can have like an okay water crash landing or, you know, whatever the fuck. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. It's just because they're physically built a certain way, you know? I'd rather fly a Cessna than a helicopter. Well, yeah, that depends. Yeah, but yeah, Cessna, I would feel a lot more safe in, for sure. Even if the engine cuts and it starts like you tilt down, you're like going fast, pointed at the ground, you know, you can just like get it to level out, assuming you have enough altitude. So, I don't know. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You should all go in one at some point if you can. I know that sounds like terrible advice because people will be like, oh, the small ones crash all the time. But that's because you have a lot of novice pilots in them. Just saying. I think you should all try it. So you can climb up forward to restart the prop without crashing, surely. That's only in like, what is it, like a 150 and prior, 152 and prior? No, even earlier than that. That's like in old ass ones to spin the prop to start it. Most people are going to be flying in like a 172 or some shit. All right, and you're not going to have to worry about that. You're not going to have to climb out and spin the prop. I don't remember what model they started making them. Like you have to physically get the prop, but you know, it's not been like that for a while. Not for a long time. Said your aerodynamics professor told you that helicopters propel off the ground by their sheer ugliness. Helicopters, yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan if I can avoid it. I'm good. Ooh, get a small plane flight out to an airstrip in the middle of the wilderness where they need to radio down to have someone scare the buffalo off the airstrip. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? If you've ever gone on like these really weird hunting trips out to the middle of nowhere, or like wilderness and outdoorsy stuff, sometimes you do, especially if you've been out to like Alaska, places like that, you end up being in these like weird ass places, and it's not too expensive often depending on where you're going. And yeah, you just end up in a lot of weird devices, weird places, weird everything. Yeah, bush pilots, exactly. I mean, usually they have like these airstrips that they know how to get to easily that are at least like packed ground that you can land on just fine, take off from just fine, if not a paved one. But if they're in a heli, sometimes they will be like, oh, I'll just land it on this rock, I'll just perch, it's fine, and it's like not fine. It's terrifying. At least when they're in a plane, they're like looking for the nearest airstrip to get to. Whereas the heli pilots are like, we'll just water land. I'll just drop you in the water, hop out. Shit's crazy. Not a fan. Your grandfather used to go on wicked remote fishing trips at a cabin that was only accessible by water plane. Yeah. There's some really weird remote areas that, yeah, and like people that live nearby will run these services where they'll take you out to different spots. For me, less than air, it was more like boats. Going to different places by boat. The number of times I had been down south and I had to go somewhere by fan boat. I had to get on some dude's like bayou fan boat to get to a spot, a specific spot I was supposed to go to. And I'm out there with like like a GPS tracker that's just kind of sort of telling me what my coordinates are and shit. It's like I don't miss it that much. I do and I don't, you know. Ever getting those hovercrafts? Oh, what kind? What kind? Depends on what you mean. I've gotten in some jank shit, but you make it sound like a cool thing. The stuff I got in was usually like some dude made it with a tin can and a piece of wood, you know. Where the fuck were you going to? The bayou, dude. The bayou, all right? I don't even know. I don't even remember half the time. I know what like airport I went to, or usually didn't even fly. I usually just drove 5 billion hours to get somewhere. Because air used to be more expensive than driving. Nowadays it's like the same shit, which is awful. Fuck tolls, but you know, it used to be. And then I would end up somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and then I'd get on a sketchy boat, and I'd get on another sketchy boat, and then I'd get on another sketchy boat, and then I'd be in like this most beautiful outdoor paradise for a while. You know, the end point was always really good. Getting there was just weird. Very weird. But it was cool. Can't land in the swamp now. You can't fly in because of the very, very tall tree cover. You can't use a standard boat because a lot of the time the propeller, there's a lot of shit that gets stuck in it, so you kind of just need to have the fan boat, otherwise you can't move. You literally can't move. Maybe you could paddle, but even then that's sketchy. So, you know. We can't do a super long stream today, for the record. I have to be gone in 5 hours. Actually, you know what? That's a full stream.